Sucking the good.
This is an awkward position. Hello, friends. So, times are weird. I haven't made a video since this whole thing started happening. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is staying healthy, staying inside, washing your goddamn hands. This is gonna be a little bit of a chill video. Normally I kind of prepare what I'm gonna do. I thought, should I do a movie review? Like, there are still movies coming out. They're all coming out digitally now, which is kind of cool. But I don't know, it just didn't feel like something I wanted to do right now. And what I figured I would talk about is just what I've been doing, what I've been watching, what kinds of things are out there for you guys to watch during this weird time. And we're all just looking for some escapism, some good old-fashioned escapism. I've been working from home, so I still have like a lot of work stuff going on in my life. I'm not just like dicking around all day, which is why I haven't been able to make a lot of videos, even though I really want to. It's such a tease because like I'm home and I'm in the place to do it, but I can't do it because I have to work all the time. But that is neither here nor there. I don't know where that Kentucky Fried Drawl just came from. I watched a lot of Westworld, maybe that's why. All right, let's go. Stop dilly-dallying. So, first movie that comes to mind that I watched in the past few weeks is The Invisible Man. I didn't get to see it when it came out in theaters because it came out right around the time when everyone was starting to stay home. They released it digitally. Mind you, it cost like $20 to watch this movie and it was only to rent it, which is bonkers. But I guess that's kind of the same amount you would pay to see it in the theater. And I want to support these movies, so I'll let it slide. I'll pay the $20, and I did, and I watched it. It was just so good. If you haven't seen it, and if you're able to spend $20 to see it, I highly recommend it because it was one of those horror movies that is just very stressful. And I think the thing that I really loved the most about it was the cinematography and the direction, because as I'm sure you know, it's about this woman who's being followed, stalked by her ex-husband who is dead, but he's actually not dead. He's invisible, or so she thinks. And she's also dealing with a lot of like PTSD and trauma from this abusive relationship, and no one believes her. Everyone thinks she's crazy. And you as the viewer also don't really know, because for most of the movie, the invisible man is invisible, so you can't see him. And so you kind of just have to trust that he's there, and the way the cinematography works and the camera angles, it makes you feel like she's being followed, and it makes you feel like things are happening, even though there's actually nothing visually occurring. It's just the combination of the weird angles and the music, and it just makes it really uncomfortable to watch. But I will say, I don't think it was perfect. I think it had a few plot holes. I think it had a few like, would that really happen though moments, but it's fine. I'll let it slide because I had a great fucking time watching it. Okay, next. So because we cannot go to the movies, and I'm very sad because I love going to the movies. I think I go at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. And we were like, well, if we can't go to the movies, we have a projector, we have a big screen, we've never set it up. Why don't we just do that outside in the backyard? So we did, we set it up, it was huge, it was awesome. We lit a fire, we had a little bonfire, roasted marshmallows, made some s'mores, ate some popcorn, and we watched A Quiet Place. Now I live in like a little creepy cabin in the woods, so just picture a projector in the forest with a bonfire watching A Quiet Place. It was very, very disturbing and kind of terrifying, but it was also so much fun. It was really cool, and I think A Quiet Place is also like a really good quarantine pandemic movie if you like want to watch something like that. We didn't even think of it. The reason we picked it is because it was quiet and we were outside. It was kind of late and I didn't want to like disturb our neighbors. So we picked the most quiet movie we could think of. But then we were watching it and I was like, this is like extremely relevant. So yeah, A Quiet Place. It's on Netflix. The next thing that I have been watching that a lot of people are watching, maybe you're watching it, is Tiger King on Netflix. Tiger King is like a true crime documentary, but it's unlike any other. I'm not really a huge documentary person. I'm not really into reality TV, stuff like that. I actually work for reality TV in my full-time job, and that is like pretty much as much of it as I can handle. So when I'm not working, I don't want anything to do with it. So when I saw it pop up on Netflix and I heard everyone talking about it, I was like, I really don't know if I want to watch this. I'm not really into the genre. Then I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna give it a try. And I am absolutely obsessed with it. I think I started it 2 days ago. I just finished it last night. And listen. This show is wild. It's honestly hard to explain it in full detail. You kind of just have to experience it. But it's basically about this man in Oklahoma named Joe Exotic. That should be enough to tell you what this is. And he runs a zoo, kind of like a hillbilly, not super official kind of zoo. And he has a bunch of tigers, a bunch of big cats. And the whole documentary is about him and how he treats his animals, and then how all of the other people in the world who have like this weird big cat obsession and run these weird zoos. And like, it's just about this world of people that I never knew existed. And they are so interesting. I mean, there's some batshit crazy people. There's like murder or attempted murder or potential feeding people to tigers murder. It's a lot to unpack, and I highly recommend you watch it because it is 100% gold entertainment. Okay, next. One movie I watched the other day, which I have actually never seen before, is Death Proof. So I'm a big Tarantino fan, and I just haven't seen all of his movies for whatever reason. And that was one of them that I hadn't seen. So I was like, let's just knock it out. Let's just watch it. I've always wanted to watch it. There's nothing really new going on that I want to watch. So I watched Death Proof, and it was awesome. I think it's one of my favorite Tarantino films. Like, it's not like very profound or anything. It's kind of just like it's a Tarantino film. You know how they are. They're more of an experience than anything. A lot of them aren't really about the plot, and this one doesn't really have much of a plot at all. It's very character driven, it's very action and thrill driven. It also has a really interesting aesthetic. It's very like grindhouse. It's like very intentionally supposed to look like a bad copy of a 70s movie, and it's just really interesting to watch. I really liked that effect that it had. And it's also got some badass women kicking ass, like really intense badass women kicking ass, and it's just so much fun. So if you haven't seen Death Proof, I highly recommend you watch it. You could be drunk while you watch it. You don't really need to pay attention. It's just a lot of crazy shit, and I had a great time. I've also been watching, a lot of Westworld. I watched season 1 of Westworld, and I absolutely loved it so much. Then season 2 came out. I watched the first episode, and I got really confused. And then it was just really hard for me to keep up with, because the thing about Westworld, it's an HBO show, and it's one of those shows that you cannot multitask. You cannot do anything else other than sit your ass down and watch this show with 100% attention, because if you look away for like 2 seconds, you will have absolutely no idea what's going on. So when I tried to watch season 2, I had a lot going on in my life, and I was like trying to do a lot of stuff at once, and I just could not keep up with this show. I think I watched the first episode like 100 times because I just kept forgetting what was happening. And as I've watched the show, and now I'm all caught up, and I kind of feel like you're not really supposed to know what's going on. Like season 2, I think, is the most confusing because there's a lot of time jumps and a lot of like unreliable narrators, like their perspectives you don't really trust. You don't really know what's real, what's not real, and the entire timeline is like jumbled all around. So you don't really realize what's happening until the end of the last episode, and then you're like, oh. And that's why I love this show so much, because even if you don't know what's going on, you kind of know it's intentional, and you just have to trust it. You just have to trust the show, trust the story, and just enjoy the ride, because it's so much fun. If you haven't watched Westworld or you don't know what it is, let me tell you. This is that show that I always tell everyone to watch. Like when anyone asks me for a recommendation, I'm like, yo, watch Westworld. I almost just fell off the bed. So Westworld is a show from HBO that is based on a movie from 1970 something, also called Westworld. And it's about this futuristic world. It's basically this world, but in the future, where robots are really advanced, and there's this like amusement park created called Westworld, and you go to Westworld. It's very, very expensive, only for very rich clients. The whole point is that you enter this world that's in the Old West. You're like a cowboy, you get to put on fancy clothes, and everyone in the world that you interact with, like in the park, is a robot, but they all look like humans and they act like humans, and they're just extremely advanced. So there's a lot of that like Blade Runner feel where you don't really know who's a robot, who's not a robot. Everything's kind of confusing and fucked up. And it's just extremely interesting and so good and so well written, and I just love it so much. So yeah, I'm all caught up now. I just watched the most recent episode of season 3. Not really sure how I'm feeling about season 3. If you're watching Westworld, you might be with me. It's like, I'm not really sure where it's going. I'm not really sure how much more the show can last, but we'll see. Maybe I'll make a whole video about it. I don't know. Segue from Westworld. I also watched Westworld, the movie, because I finished everything in the show and I was like, I need more. So I was like, well, why don't we just watch the movie that it was based on? I can't remember where I found it to stream it. I think I bought it. You can rent it for $1 on Apple. Everywhere else it's like $2 or $3. I think I got it on Vudu for $4, so I got ripped off a little bit. But yeah, I watched Westworld, the 1973 movie. While I get that it was like innovative and exciting for its time, it was really not that good, if I'm being honest. Like, it was fun. The concept is obviously brilliant and amazing, and if I wasn't comparing it to the show, I probably would have liked it a lot more, but I think the show explores it a lot better, and it looks better. It's one of those movies that if they had made it now and had like better technology for making movies, it would probably have looked a lot cooler, but it just looked so cheesy, and it just felt like a cheesy 70s Western with like a sci-fi twist. But it was enjoyable. It was fun to see like where the show originated and where that story came from. So it was definitely interesting, and if you like the show, I would recommend watching it because it was fun, but I'm not sure I'll ever watch it again. And the last thing that I watched, which I think I watched right at the start of all of this like self-isolation, social distancing stuff. I think I was still like going to work, and it wasn't like this huge thing that it is now. It was right at the cusp, but I did watch it and I haven't talked about it on this channel, so I'm gonna talk about it. The Netflix show, I Am Not Okay With This. This is one of those things where I was just scrolling Netflix and it just popped up and I was like, oh, it's the chick from It. And it's also the kid from It who plays Stanley. And it just kind of looked interesting. I liked the concept and I was like, I'll just watch this, why not? And I immediately became obsessed. I binged the entire show in a day. I don't think it's very long. It's only a few episodes and it ends in a way that infuriates me and I need more right now. But basically the concept that like originally hooked me is it's this teenage girl who's going through puberty, and that puberty is giving her superpowers. It's not as like literally explained that way, but that's what it is. Like, you watch it and you're like, oh, that's what they're trying to do. And it's just really cool. She's just like this angry, emotional, just like troubled teenage girl going through a lot of shit. And she's just angry and she has this rage, and it just manifests into this crazy superpower. And instead of it being like a fun superhero adventure story, it's more of like, this power is terrifying. Her going through puberty is gonna kill everyone. I don't know, I was hooked from beginning to end. It's like a little bit cheesy, but I like cheesy. Also, if you have played the game Life is Strange, this is 100% Life is Strange in a show. It's sort of like, and I'm about to get real thick in the weeds, but just bear with me if you haven't played the game. I'm only gonna say this for like real quick. But if you've played the game, it's basically like Max's character and Chloe's character are one person. Like their storylines, if you combined them into one, and like you kept the superpowers part and the angsty teen with dead dad and a mom who works at a diner and wears the exact same outfit, it's literally the same. And I loved it. Because I love Life is Strange and I want more of it, so now I have a show about it, kinda. It's also based on a comic book, and I looked into it, and apparently the comic book is not very good. So if you've read the comic and you liked it, let me know in the comments, because I'm curious about it, but like if everyone tells me that it sucks, I'm probably not gonna get it. I don't know, it's very interesting. Anyways, I think that's everything I've watched since this quarantine happened. I feel like that's not very much, but I mean, like I said, I'm still working like a shit ton of hours. Okay, I think that's enough for today. I'm getting a little bit antsy. I need to eat some lunch. I don't know what I'm singing. I hope you guys like this video. It was a little bit jumbled and rambly, but you know, sometimes you just need to sit on a bed and talk about, I don't know where I was going with that. What have you been watching, reading, playing, etc. during this time? Let me know in the comments below what you're watching, what's good on Netflix. Why can't I like say words? Also, like, how are you? Are you okay? Is everything good with you? But that's it for now. I don't know why I'm doing a hula luau. But that's all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope y'all are doing well, staying healthy. I hope you have an awesome day. Wash your fucking hands. My camera could not have died at a more perfect time. Wow, that was crazy. Bye.